Hi guys, quickly before I get into this video, I realised I haven't actually verbally said in a video who has done my background art. I commissioned my dear friend Penny, or Pencil Cookie online, to draw me a background, and she did an amazing job doing the background that you can see right now, and also a nighttime version that I've also used in my videos. She also took the avatar that already exists, and the artist for that avatar is linked in the description always as well, but she added lighting to it so it suits either the night or day backgrounds. I'll leave her links down in the description. This is going to be a follow-up to my fast fashion videos. The first one I made was regarding the situation wherein people were horrified that J.K. Rowling bought a piece of merch that was from a turf. I pointed out how hypocritical it was that these people were calling out J.K. Rowling for supporting somebody with terrible beliefs, but would also go out and support fast fashion and even accept brand deals from them, and went on to explain exactly why fast fashion is bad. I then did a follow-up video going over certain brands that are also known to be unethical and unsustainable. I'll link both of those videos down in the description so you can get the full context. In a nutshell, my problems are twofold. The first is ethical, the way in which they treat their employees, the conditions in which their employees have to work in, and the pay in which their employees receive. Some other ethical considerations are art theft and stealing products from other creators, as well as using real animal fur to substitute for fake animal fur, because real animal fur is unfortunately cheaper to produce. The second problem I have is sustainability. Is the way that they are producing these products environmentally friendly, and are the materials that they use also environmentally friendly? Are they using polyester, which contains plastic, which doesn't biodegrade when discarded? But I also want to add, before we get into this video, when I talk about my distaste for fast fashion, I'm speaking on a personal choice that I make, and I am not attempting to shame anyone who cannot afford sustainable clothes or items. Some people literally cannot afford to buy sustainable clothes or items. Poverty is very much a real issue in the Western world. And while fast fashion isn't actually cheaper, that's a myth, because the materials that they use are lower quality, and therefore the items will rip or tear or break much easily, and therefore you have to buy more of it, spending much more money on fast fashion than ethical and sustainable clothing in the long term. Not everybody can stop and save up. Some people can't afford that. Some people need to have certain items of clothing, for example, a pair of trousers for work right now. I'm also not an absolutist when it comes to this topic. Like I said, if I can't afford a sustainable or ethically produced item and I need something right away, I am not above going to Primark to go and get it. I was also gifted a Shein gift card for Christmas, and I'm not going to turn around to that person who was probably thinking, oh, she'll really enjoy this, she'll get some nice clothes in that. I'm not going to turn around to them and say, yeah, you're terrible, how dare you. Instead, I specifically chose items that aren't going to be made environmentally friendly elsewhere. I got phone cases, because what else are phone cases going to be made of if not plastic? And I also chose these as it likely takes their employees less time to produce and therefore is less strenuous for them. Instead, when talking about fast fashion and ethical and sustainable alternatives, I want to, number one, educate people on the problems with fast fashion, which was the first video, and two, inform the public on alternatives that they can choose instead of fast fashion, which is this video. Whew. So now I've got my artist shout out, the context of this video, and the disclaimer out of the way, let's go into the actual tips that you can use to become more ethical and sustainable. First, how do you go about buying ethical and sustainable products? My first tip is secondhand, either going to charity or thrift stores in person or going online, for example, eBay, Depop, Vinted. When you buy from charity shops, you are supporting a cause, and when you buy secondhand, you are not directly giving money to a company that may be unethical and unsustainable. I'll give you some examples of branded products that I have got secondhand. I have this shirt and skirt combo from Killstar, which I got on eBay for about half the price. And I got this pair of boots, also Killstar, which was a great find because Killstar don't actually make these shoes anymore. Yeah, I got those on Depop for £20 off. When you buy secondhand, not only are you helping charities and not directly supporting certain companies, you're actually saving money. However, I do recognise that there is a problem with people who are smaller than the average size or people who are plus size, because a lot of the time if you are looking in charity shops or online, they might not have your size. A lot of the time in charity shops or online, they really only have average size, or most of the goods on there are average size. To which I would say the alternative would be shop in the sales. Because again, a lot of the time in the sales, what's actually left over are the smaller sizes and the larger sizes, because most people will have already bought the average size. You are still giving the company that may not be ethical or sustainable money, but you are not giving the full price, meaning that they are not as incentivized to continue making certain products or products that are like the product that you are buying in the sale. And again, you are saving money. But what about discarding items? If they are in good condition, you can just do the opposite and give them to charity or sell them online. Or if perhaps maybe a pair of jeans has a hole in it and you really can't give it to charity or sell it, recycle it. I have a bin bag in my room dedicated to damaged clothes or damaged shoes. If I notice that a sock has a hole in the bag it goes. And once the bin bag is full, I will take it to my local recycling plant or tip and pop it in there. Not a lot of people would think to do this, they'll just throw a pair of jeans in the bin, but it causes me anxiety to think that a piece of my clothing could just be in a landfill for years to come. Many of these plants will accept clothes of all materials, even if it contains plastic, and mixed materials. It's just a good alternative rather than chucking it in the regular bin. What about everyday items? For example, you need a container to put your makeup brushes in. I have the answer. Get creative. I made these little containers for my cotton buds and my hairpins and hair bobbles out of the container that the cotton buds came in. I've just used old wrapping paper to wrap it up and make it look pretty, and I've done the same with this box that I keep my plushies in. It was just a cardboard box that came with one of my deliveries. I've wrapped it up and I use it to store my plushies. As for the plastic lid that came with the cotton bud container, I use it as a trinket dish and sometimes as a plant pot dish. I didn't make this, but I love this. My local plant store actually reused old light bulbs and turned them into little succulent pots of a sort. I think that's really cute. Moving on, think about materials that you use in the everyday world. For example, I am an Etsy store seller. I sell little dolls, plushies, and things like that. I always try and use materials that are sustainable and good for the environment. The felt that I use is 100% wool, which is biodegradable. I also use woolen stuffing, but sometimes I also use recycled plastic stuffing, which isn't biodegradable but is a recycled good. The thread that I use? Yarn. Biodegradable. I do use plastic buttons for eyes and decorative embellishments. You can use wooden buttons, but they don't look as nice, and also there isn't as much a variety with wooden buttons as there are plastic buttons. As for the actual packaging, the tissue paper that I use to wrap them is in fact acid-free and biodegradable. I use twine to wrap the parcel around and attach the tag to it. The twine is natural and biodegradable, and the tag is made of cardboard and therefore is recyclable. The sellotape that I use to secure the tissue paper is plastic-free, and the envelopes or the boxes that I use are either made of paper or cardboard and therefore can both be recycled. I am currently using plastic duct tape to secure the package, but I intend to move on to plastic-free duct tape or parcel tape in the future. And this is something I probably should have mentioned in the buying items section, but support individual creators and independent businesses. It's likely that they will not have unethical labour practices because they are small scale, and it's worth looking into some of them that are 100% sustainable as well. Plastic in products isn't always bad, however, because plastic is reusable. I always recommend that people have their own water bottles rather than going out and buying water bottles. It reduces the supply and demand for plastic water bottles, and also so many people just litter plastic water bottles once they're finished drinking them and just leave them there to stay forever. Travel mugs are also great to take to coffee shops rather than using their own cups. I have this one. that looks like a cat. It's made of glass and it keeps my drinks piping hot for up to an hour. I've literally made a cup of tea, put the lid on, come back to an hour later, and it's still boiling hot. I think that's all the tips and tricks that I have so far when it comes to buying items or getting rid of items and other things that you can do in your day-to-day life to just ease the environmental impact. Comment your tips and tricks down in the comments section. I'm sure I've missed out on a load of ideas and I would love to read yours. I hope this video wasn't too mind-numbingly boring and slightly informative, because that's what I'm aiming for. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.